Hey, 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 beautiful people. Coach SaraLiz here. I just wanted to drop in real quick and say, hey, it is Let's Talk About Time. And although we are having this conversation, it's just a conversation with me tonight because I wanted to give an end of year message. And the reason that I wanted to give this end of year message is because I believe that it is important for us to come together as a community, because as a collectivist society, as African people, we are a collectivist society. And it requires, what that means is that we are a society that emphasizes the needs and wants and goals of a group over the needs and desires of each individual. We're not a community or a society of people who are self-centered. We are collectively, we collectively have social values that revolve around the best interests of our community and society. Because when you think about that concept is seen in when things happen in the world, right? Because a lot of times what we said was they Black, because we look at it as a reflection on us as a people. So that's where that comes from, is that we are a collectivist society. And just as a reminder, the Let's Talk About conversation is a community conversation series that I developed to bring conscious awareness to situations and circumstances that disproportionately impact our people of African diaspora, to unitedly commit as a community to being part of the change to move the needle forward to healing and whole wellness, so that we as a community can move the needle forward to healing and whole wellness. Because I believe that the formula to change is community plus commitment equals change. And that change that I'm referring to is the overall improvement to whole healing and whole wellness in all aspects of the Black community. Because there is a healing that needs to take place in our community. And I chose today as our conversation to take place because today is a very important day in the celebration of Kwanzaa. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa is a holiday that was developed in 1966. And it was developed in 1966 as a way in which to bring our community, right? To bring us together as a community and to, as a way in which that we as a people, right? That we as a people would be able to, in an effort to, to bring healing to our community. And, the specific origin of Kwanzaa is, let's first break it down. Kwanzaa is a Swahili word that means first fruits. And Kwanzaa in itself was, developed as a 7-day holiday because it's the model of Kwanzaa is the first fruit celebration that reflects in ancient Africa, especially in Southern Africa, because first fruit celebrations were initially 7 days, right? That was the celebrations in the Zulu land were initially 7 days. And the central reason why this is 7 days is to stress the 7 principles, or the Nguzo Saba, through which through this, to introduce and reaffirm the values and practices that as a community that would strengthen and celebrate family, community, and culture. So just as a reflection of the central reason why Kwanzaa is celebrated as a 7-day time frame from December 26th to January 1st is because it was to stress the 7 principles of Kwanzaa so that we could introduce and reaffirm the communitarian values and practices which strengthen and celebrate family, community, and culture. And let's kind of jump into those 7 principles, which brings us to here on this Wednesday, December 29th. You see, the first principle of Umoja, which means unity, is the purpose of that is to strive for and maintain unity in our family, in our nation, and in our and race. The reason why I wanted to have this conversation around Kwanzaa and to discuss, kind of highlight these 7 principles is because my question to you is, what if we as a people, each individually, and then come together collectively, practice these 7 principles throughout 2022 and beyond? What would that look like? You see, as I mentioned, the first principle is Umoja, which means unity. It starts there. It starts with the unity within our community that will support us in maintaining our family, the nation, and our race. Day 2 is Kujichagulia, which is self-determination. That principle is to define who we are by naming, thinking, speaking, and creating for ourselves. Self-determination. The third principle, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, means to build and maintain our communities and solve our problems together by taking ownership of each other's problems. The fourth, which is today, is Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to open our own businesses and maintain and profit from them together. Let's stop there. The principle Ujamaa is to cooperative economics, to open our businesses and maintain and profit from them together. I chose to this day to focus and have this conversation with you to stress the importance of Ujamaa, to stress the importance of cooperative economics, because it is through cooperative economics that we would be able to come together and support our community, right? Because if you break down the words of cooperative and then economics, cooperative involves a mutual assistance in working toward a common goal. A mutual assistance to work towards a common goal. Economics, of course, is the knowledge concerned with production, consumption, and transfer of wealth. The condition of a region or group as regards to material prosperity. That is the definition. So when you break down and put it together, cooperative economics and why it is essential in our community, because it is to build and maintain our own businesses and to profit from them together. And this is an essential commitment to the practice of shared wealth and the concept of a collectivist society, because it is a shared social wealth and the work necessary that is required to achieve it. In order for Ujamaa to, to be fulfilled, so to speak, we must look at it from the perspective of why it was implemented and aligned as a principle. Because when you think about Ujamaa, it literally means familyhood, and it suggests a sharing of work and wealth in the manner of a family. Family, what does a family make up? A family makes up the community. So each of our families contribute to a cooperative economy. So it grows in this cooperative economy, it grows out of the fundamental communal concept that social wealth belongs to the masses of people who created it, and that no one should have an unequal amount of wealth, and that it gives him or her the capacity to impose unequal or exploitive, oppressive relations on others. Sharing wealth. That is a form of a communitarian exchange, sharing and cooperating in general, and just overall. That is how you think about Black Wall Street and the success of Black Wall Street. It's because the businesses, they own their own businesses and maintain their profit together. Kind of the concept of if I eat, we all eat. So it's essential, this principle is essential, because without this principle and practices of shared wealth, the social conditions and exploitation, the oppression and the inequality, as well as the deprivation and suffering increases. So it is paramount that we as a community embrace the principle of Ujamaa to build our own businesses and maintain, and as a way in which that we can profit together. Now let's think about some of the things. There's been an influx of Black-owned businesses, and the talk about Black-owned businesses and the support of Black-owned businesses. But let's kind of look at what that economy looks like and what the statistics show for Black-owned businesses in 2021. There are more than 2 million Black-owned businesses in the United States. And that the greatest number of Black-owned businesses are in New York City. However, the highest percentage of Black-owned businesses are in Washington, D.C. So the greatest number of Black-owned businesses are in New York City, and the highest percentage of Black-owned businesses are located in the Washington, D.C. area. However, 58% of Black-owned business owners were at risk or distressed during COVID-19. Also, since 2012, Black-owned businesses generated $150.2 billion gross revenue since 2012. So that's 9 years. In 9 years, Black-owned businesses, generated $150.2 billion over this 9-year period. It may sound like that's a lot of money. Oh yes, we're doing great. So that's kind of like an average of like 17 million a year. However, the United States alone in 2020 made up $20.89 trillion. So you do the math on that. Now, when it comes to Black-owned businesses, there's a great number, a gap, right, in the amount of money that Black-owned businesses generate. And then there's a significantly less amount of business of equity that is manifested by Black women. Black women on average have a 24,000 net revenue compared to 142,900 among all other women-owned businesses. That is an enormous problematic gap because because the number of women, Black women are the fastest growing Black-owned businesses, period. Of businesses, period, not just Black-owned, but businesses, period. However, the numbers that I just read, right, according to the 2021 statistics, Black women average 24,000 net revenue versus every other woman-owned business at $142,900. That is almost $120,000 less that Black women make, although we are the fastest growing, the women, we are starting businesses faster than any other. And then if you break it down even further, only 1% of Black business owners are able to obtain a business loan in their first year. Many are starting from nothing: family loans, personal loans, credit cards, whatever, however it is in which that we are being able to get started. A wing and a prayer, most of us. But when you think about, as you continue to go on, the numbers that in which Black-owned businesses contribute to the U.S. economy and could contribute to the U.S. economy are impacted because of the revenue. Could it be higher? Because, as I mentioned, only 1% of Black-owned businesses gain a business loan within their first year. 44%, this is the statistic I was looking, I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but 44% of Black owners use their own cash to start their business. And while most of our businesses have no capital, most of us are discouraged because of the complexity of starting, of applying for loans, and the lack of approval of applying for loans. Only 18% of Black business owners report that they receive assistance from loan officers in completing their business loan applications. That's unheard of. Unacceptable. So do you understand and see why it is important that we as a people understand the importance of cooperative economics and the importance of having our own businesses and maintain and profit from them together? Because there are more and more Black businesses who are loan officers. We're out there. But will we seek them out, do research? It may take us a little bit more time to find those people, to find those loan officers to be able to support. Will you do the research? Will you be patient to really go to in making an effort to support Black business. Because in making the effort and supporting Black business, it is supporting the collective. It is supporting our numbers increasing as to closing the gap of the amount of money in which our businesses make, especially as Black women, only making $24,000 a year. Come on, versus $142,900. Come on. We as a community have we have the knowledge, we have the ability, and our businesses, we have enough to function and to be able to support, to grow an economy collectively. So with that, I ask you, will you support Black business going into 2022? How will you support in the healing and whole wellness of our community as a whole? Because each of our decisions make up the collective. We are not an individualistic society. What if, I posed this question earlier on my social media. What if your next purchase, service or product, was the very purchase that would support in recreating Black Wall Street? And when you think of Black Wall Street, you think of the professionals that we were able to operate in the early 1900s in a way in which has never actually happened again. Doctors, lawyers, store owners, clothing, you name it, we had it. As we do right now. You name it, we have it. And we have to go through more red tape, more ways in which to get our word, to get it out there, more ways in which there can be a phenomenal product that's out there. However, because of lack of funding, you may not know. Because of lack of support, you may not know. Because of someone not even, friends maybe downplaying this small business. But what if you made a commitment that if you had 5 friends who have small businesses, what if each of us made a commitment to share a post on social media, to support them by making referrals if they have a service, buying their products, putting a budget aside, say $20 a month. Whoever can do more, $5 a month, $50 a month, $24 a month, whatever it is that you can afford. What if you set aside a specific dollar amount that this is for Black business? Because because you desire to collectively support and increase and close the gap of the monies earned within our community. What if we each made that commitment? What if that commitment just snowballed into a greater and a more impactful communal commitment? Because as I said earlier, I believe that where there is commitment and where there is community and there is commitment, that equals change. What if closing that gap can support in us having a greater voice as to what happens in our community? Because money talks. What if us applying the 7 values of Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujamaa, Nia, Kuumba, and Imani. What if we applied those 7 values in English terms, those 7 values of being unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith? What if we had a communal celebration of those principles to reaffirm and reinforce the bonds of our people within the US, in the diaspora and on the continent of Africa? That's what Kwanzaa is. It's to design, it was designed to unite and strengthen African communities. And, you know, to strengthen and to unite our communities as an act of cultural determination, as a self-conscious statement of our own unique cultural truth as African people. Basically just saying it's an important way, an expression of being African and a multicultural, in being African. Understanding our roots, understanding where we come from, understanding that we as a people are a communalist society. We are not an individualistic society. Kwanzaa is a way in which that we can get back to the roots of and utilizing the 7 principles as a way to guide us to getting back to a communist, a communal society. Because day 1 of unity, let's go back, is to strive for and maintain unity in our families, nation, and race. Self-determination, day 2, is to define who we are by naming, thinking, speaking, creating for, and creating for ourselves. Day 3, collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our communities and solve our problems together by taking ownership of each other's problems. Day 4, which is today, cooperative economics, to open our own businesses and maintain and profit from them together. Day 5, Nia, which is purpose, developing personal goals to restore our community and Black people back to their traditional greatness. Day 6 of creativity, thinking of ways and doing as much as we can to make our community more beautiful and the world a better place than we have inherited. And the final day of faith, or Imani, to believe in each other and everyone around us despite our struggles in past. If we as a community and if we individually could commit to applying even just one of those principles, but think in 2022 of learning and developing one principle, even if you took one principle a month or one principle for basically 2 months. We have 12 months in a year. You could do a principle a month and a half to develop it, to apply it within our own families. And then it can then be developed into applying it into our immediate community. And this is bringing that unity within our community, which impacts the world. Because if there is disunity within us, how can we go out into the world and create unity and create a way in which that we are vibrating at a high vibration? Impossible. So as I stated in the beginning, I made a choice to have this conversation with you. Initially, it was going to be a panel discussion tonight, but it was on my heart that it was something necessary for me to have just with you so that you can understand and see me as who I am and what I stand for. Because it is this collectiveness that brings me here. It is this collective viewpoint that has motivated me to relaunch these Let's Talk About conversations that I had initially launched at a company that I was with back in 2016 as a way in which to educate them about diseases that impact people of African diaspora more harshly than other ones, because there's not a lot of information around diseases at the time, and it's even now around the treatment of lupus, around the treatment and diagnosis of lupus, and then around the treatment and the equality surrounded by for those who suffer from sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. There wasn't a lot of information, and there was a little advocacy. So this is nothing new. This is just an expansion of my view of the importance of community. Because it is in the community in which I lived, in what is known as the village in Neptune, New Jersey, the projects in Neptune, New Jersey, where I grew up. It was that community that built me who I am now. It is the community of my neighbor who used to babysit, and then, the moms who lived on the fourth floor, that was the third floor, that would support, in ensuring that we stayed out of trouble as kids. My brother's friends, and this one and that one. It was the community that kept me straight, because it takes a village. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. So I bring that to here now, because it takes a village to create change in our community. It takes a village to keep our Black women and our Black men safe from the hands and the harm of police brutality. And the only way that we can do that is if we support each other and come together collectively, supporting our businesses. That is how one of the many ways in which that we create change, because I believe that with supporting Black businesses, it creates more financial wealth within our communities, which gives us the money to be able to educate our children, that gives us a voice in election time. It gives us a voice to change laws. It gives us a voice that we are no longer muted, because we deserve to be heard. We deserve change. We deserve equality. We deserve dignity. We deserve respect. So I ask you, will you seek to apply the 7 principles of Kwanzaa as you move forward into your life in 2022? Will that be a part of your goals in 2022? Just learn about them. Seeing how you can apply them in your own life. That right there creates change. And it moves the needle forward to healing and whole wellness. What is your commitment? What if you apply just one principle? How would that change your life? How would that change your children's lives and your children's lives? how would it create a different tomorrow from what we experience today? So I thank you for the past couple of months of your support with these Let's Talk About conversations. Next month, we will resume our panel conversations where we will focus on mentoring and the importance of mentoring, and what I like to call is reaching back and pulling forward. So as always, I encourage you to be bold, to be powerful, to be authentic, and most importantly, be you. And may you and your families commit to learning and applying the 7 principles of Kwanzaa.